Buenos dias, this is Scott Oliver with CostaRicaHospital.com, sitting with Dr. Eduardo Loyola. Eduardo is a Costa Rican doctor. He's been in practice for 10 years now, and we're sitting in Hospital SEMA. Eduardo, would you please give us a clear idea and our viewers what sort of qualifications a Costa Rican doctor has and how that compares with the qualifications of a doctor, for example, in North America?
The training for a general practitioner in Costa Rica takes typically 6 years. Basically, it's more or less the same curriculum that in the United States and Canada. We do have certain things that make us a little different, where we are at the end of our training, we have to go and work 1 year somewhere in the country. Basically, we do primary care, mostly primary care. Also first interventions in the case of emergencies. We also do we're a major part in the upkeeping of the health levels in Costa Rica through the EBAIS programs.
Now the EBAIS clinics, it's EBAIS clinics throughout Costa Rica, are community health clinics, which is where doctors have to work for a year after their training. But after that, I mean, I believe you were involved in a very serious degree with emergency evacuations in a company that was involved with flying people in and out of the country too, weren't you?
Yes, since 2003 I have been involved in the aeromedical transport of patients. Basically, we are one of the only companies in the whole Central American region that is compliant with the American curriculum. And also we keep all our licenses as per the US requirements for such a operation. That's why we have flown patients all over the world back to their homes or from any country in the world to Costa Rica to receive medical treatment. Regardless of their level of complexity, we can transport anything from a medical escort on a commercial flight to a critical level patient from anywhere.
One of the reasons we're excited to have Dr. Eduardo Loyola working with us is because of his extensive experience in medical emergency evacuations. Since 2003, Dr. Loyola has been flying people in and out of the country on, obviously, aeroplanes for emergency medical treatment. Now, what sort of problems have you encountered with this type of evacuation?
Since 2003, we have been transporting patients with all kinds of medical problems. I mean, anything from heart attacks, strokes, alligator attacks, falling from trees, etc., etc. The operation itself has been working for mostly the cruise ship industry, where we've been disembarking patients from the cruise ships and operating up to their standards. Same way we transport people from Costa Rica to the States. We can actually go into the States or anywhere in the world for that matter and bring them into Costa Rica for treatment.
Eduardo, try and give us a clear idea of the types of patients you deal with. I mean, are you dealing with patients only from Costa Rica? Are you dealing with patients from all over the world?
The percentage of Costa Ricans in my consult is probably about 10%. Most of my patients come from the US, Canada, Europe. 90% of them are basically foreign, and they either live here or they are traveling here on vacation or on a cruise. We even have some expeditions of scientists that have come and they have become patients because of their work, but it is quite varied.
One of the big questions that we're asking all our doctors and our surgeons is, if your own mother had a problem with something, who would you recommend? For me, that's a very important question because the answer also answers hundreds of other questions, meaning, who do you trust? Who do you feel has compassion? Who would you trust with your mother's life? With the people that you recommend, Dr. Eduardo, obviously there's a lot of doctors in this country that have a lot more experience than others, but explain to us how you coordinate between the highly recommended doctors that you know and the ones that perhaps don't have as much experience as you would like.
When we have a need for a physician, basically what we have done is we inquire among our peers who is the most experienced, who fits the profile to attend to our patients that we look after. Basically, they must be English speaking 100%. They must be aware of sort of like idiosyncrasies between the Americans or whatever nationality and Costa Ricans. They must be fully trained and certified locally for to perform whatever procedure they're going to do. So basically, it's a matter of we know who they are, and we basically recommend who we would send our family to. Costa Rica has a great amount of excellent professionals. Our group have managed to gather a few, and there is a lot out there for any patient that wants to get any sort of treatment, specific treatment in Costa Rica.
Dr. Eduardo, I know you work with a number of diplomats, and I know you consult with a number of the embassies here, but try to explain for our viewers exactly what your role is, because obviously as a GP, you're not a specialist in lots of different areas, but explain to us how you fit into the picture for the patients that we have.
My role in CostaRicaHospital.com will be to review your medical information, and based on that and your input, we will choose the best physician for you to perform whatever treatment you need here. I will probably be the first person you see when you're coming to Costa Rica, and the last one before you go back to home. It is important that you feel comfortable with every option regarding your treatment that you make. If you need further information, you can contact us anytime, and if you need us to ask the surgeon or whoever is going to perform whatever procedure you're going to need, we can do that too. You have to feel comfortable about it.
Eduardo, I'd like to just explain briefly those wonderful little cultural differences between Costa Ricans and North Americans, and why it's crucially important to have an expert like you in the middle to understand the communications between doctors here as well as the patient.
Some of the differences between foreigners and Costa Ricans are that we are much warmer people. We're much touchy people. We make you feel like an old friend. A lot of our patients said, they've never had such a human contact. They never had such a warmth when they were in a hospital, when they had any procedure done. There was always somebody asking them how they were feeling, how they felt about the procedure, if they needed anything. And that's something that is really, really important to take in consideration when you're trying to make a decision on where to go for a treatment.
When it comes to helping people, I know from personal experience that Dr. Eduardo Loyola is a very qualified and very compassionate human being. Not only has he helped myself in some minor concerns, but my girlfriend with major surgery, and both my mother and father. So for me, he's most definitely my family doctor, and I would most highly recommend him. We're very proud to have him on board.